The last phone call. They hadn't spoken in over 3 months. Not because they didn't miss each other, but because pride is a quiet wall that grows taller with silence. And in the end, it was silence that killed everything. Aarohi and Meher had once been inseparable. Born only 2 years apart, they'd grown up as sisters, best friends, and occasional enemies. From sharing bedtime secrets under the blanket to fighting over who got the bigger piece of chocolate, their bond had always been dramatic, emotional, but unbreakable. Or so they thought. It started with something small. A forgotten birthday. Meher had been swamped with work and missed calling Aarohi on her birthday. No message. No gift. Not even a simple voice note. And Aarohi, sensitive and emotional, took it personally. When she called the next day, her voice was cold. Busy, she said dryly. Yes, I was. I'm sorry, Meher replied, exhaustion in her tone. You always say that. That was the beginning. What followed was a cascade of sharp words, angry texts, and long unread messages. Neither apologized. Neither called back. Each expected the other to break the silence. Each waited. Days turned into weeks. Weeks into months. Their mother, who had always been their bridge, tried to intervene. She loves you both, she would say. Don't let this nonsense become permanent. But ego is deaf to reason. And pain often wears the face of stubbornness. It was a Thursday morning when Aarohi received the call. She was sipping her tea, scrolling through pictures of a trip they took years ago, back when things were simpler. She still hadn't deleted the photos. She couldn't. Her phone buzzed. It was an unknown number. Hello, she answered lazily. There was silence for a moment. Then a soft, trembling voice. Is this Aarohi Sharma? Yes. I'm calling from City Care Hospital. I'm afraid there's been an accident. The words that followed blurred into white noise. Car. Rain. Red light. Impact. Unconscious. Internal bleeding. Meher. ICU. Critical. Aarohi dropped her phone. Her hands shook uncontrollably. The room spun. In that moment, every petty word, every unread message, every missed call came crashing down on her like an avalanche of guilt. She rushed to the hospital. Her eyes stung from tears she had no time to wipe. Her heart pounded louder than the traffic around her. When she reached the ICU, their mother was already there, sitting frozen like a statue. Her eyes hollow. Her hands clenched in prayer. She was coming to see you, her mother whispered. She had bought your favorite pastries. She told me this morning. I'll surprise her today. I miss her. Those words tore Aarohi apart. Meher's face was pale. Her body fragile, hooked up to machines that beeped and blinked like desperate signals trying to hold her here, on this side of life. Aarohi held her hand gently. It was cold. Meher, she whispered. I'm here. No response. Just the hiss of oxygen and the rhythm of machines. And then the guilt rose in her throat like fire. I was stupid, she choked. I was waiting for you to call, but I could have called too. I just didn't know how to say sorry. A nurse stepped in quietly. She's not conscious, she said softly. But, sometimes, people hear more than we think. Aarohi nodded, tears streaming silently. She leaned closer to her sister's ear. Do you remember when we were kids, and you slipped and cracked your tooth? You cried and made me promise never to laugh, but I laughed anyway, and you chased me around the house with a pillow. She smiled through her tears. And remember our road trip to Shimla? We got lost and ended up at that terrible dhaba, and you said it was the best day of your life. Meher didn't move. But Aarohi kept talking. Words she had buried for months poured out of her like rain. Regrets. Memories. Apologies. Everything she should have said before. Hours passed. The doctor came in, his face tight. She's fading, he said. If there's anything left unsaid. Aarohi broke down completely. She begged for time. She pleaded with God, with fate, with herself. Then suddenly a soft sound. A phone. Aarohi looked around. It was Meher's phone. The nurse had found it in her bag. It buzzed faintly on the table beside the bed. The screen lit up. A draft message was open. The unsent text read, "Hey idiot, I miss you. I'm sorry. Can I call?" Aarohi's heart shattered. Even in pain, even after the silence, Meher had tried. She had reached out. Aarohi picked up the phone with shaking hands. Her tears fell on the screen. She opened the call log. And she saw it. At 2:04 p.m., just 20 minutes before the accident. Meher had tried calling her. Once. No answer. It was the last phone call. Aarohi fell to her knees, holding the phone to her chest like it was her sister's heart still beating inside it. Meher passed away at 6:47 p.m. Quietly. Without a word. Without another chance. Aarohi sat beside her long after the machines had stopped. The hospital room felt emptier than the entire world. "I heard you," she whispered. "I wish I had picked up." Weeks later, Aarohi stood in Meher's room. The walls still smelled like her perfume. Her notebooks, her clothes, her half-read novel, everything frozen in time. On the desk was a framed photo, the two of them, laughing with ice cream on their noses. Aarohi placed her phone beside the frame. She had changed her ringtone. Now, every time the phone rang, it played a soft guitar tune Meher used to hum. Sometimes she would stare at it. Wishing. Hoping. Waiting for a call that would never come. But in her heart, she knew. That final call, even if unanswered, was her sister's way of saying, "I never stopped loving you." And that was enough to break her. And heal her.